Hey guys, welcome back to One Candle Society with another One Candle Paranormal case file. Here with your host, Vic Waitley.
And Marcus D.
And today we're talking about the Lizard Man of Scape Swamp.
On June 29th, 1988, at 2 a.m. in the morning, 17-year-old Christopher David was heading home when the tire in his car blew out. He stopped his car at the edge of Scape Swamp and quickly changed his tire. After changing his tire, he had an encounter that would forever change his life. He heard a noise and then turned around. And what Chris saw, he described as green, wet-like, about 7 feet tall, with 3 fingers, red eyes, the skin like a lizard, and these snake-like scales. As Chris ran from the creature, it began scratching at his car. As he sped away, it leaped onto his car, and it was scratching on the hood of his car. He began swerving side to side until he was positive this thing was no longer on his car. After he got home, Davis' side view mirror was found to be badly damaged, and there were scratch marks found on his roof. Chris's story is far from the sole tale of people encountering the Lizard Man of Scape Swamp. Over the years, several people have claimed to have encountered this unique cryptid, and several of them reported similar accounts of the creature being hostile towards them and destructive towards their cars. Alright guys, first thing I want to know, what's a 17-year-old kid doing driving in a swamp at 2 a.m. in the morning? You know nothing positive is going to be happening at this time of day. You know nothing's positive in this kid.
Marcus, he was driving home from work.
But now I sound like a jerk.
As compelling as Christopher's story is, it's not even the very beginning of this. This whole tale started with a few people reporting damage to their cars being chewed up and looked like something had been gnawing on it pretty fiercely and doing a great deal of damage to it. The police came out to investigate and were dumbfounded about how much destruction had occurred. And then they started asking around, and people started telling them, well, it must be that lizard man, which got the cops thinking and asking around about that.
I don't think it was till after Chris's encounter with this thing that really people started really jump on the bandwagon of this cryptid, trying to raise awareness about it and trying to bring attention to what was going on in the community.
The police weren't taking it as serious. They were curious on what was going on, and for the most part, what they were saying is, we think something's going on here. They didn't believe it was the lizard man, but they thought it must be related somehow, and they were just trying to see how it was related. But one of the things I've noticed that's a common theme in almost all of these, there's almost always a car present. It's either someone driving in a car and it's lunging at them, or it's attacking someone's car.
Yeah, I saw that too whenever I was researching this topic too. That seems to be something that's very unique to this particular cryptid. In every story, it's always kind of scratching at cars and being destructive towards them. I wonder why that is.
I did some research into animals attacking cars, and the most common animal that I could find that attacked cars and chewed on them were squirrels, and they just do that because rodents' teeth don't stop growing, and that's a way for them to break it off. There are accounts of dogs attacking cars from time to time, but it's pretty rare.
Well, a lot of skeptics think that what this actually was a bear attack. Even some of the cops at the time thought that this was a bear attack that was going on. That's why the cars ended up getting damaged. I mean, bears attack, they scratch up cars, don't they?
Yeah, and he was coming back from working at a restaurant, so he might have smelled like food at the time. But when Chris originally saw him, it was walking in kind of a low-lying area, and he was able to make out this thing walking across, and he mistook it as a human. So it must have had a human gait to it.
Well, bears can kind of have a human gait from, in the darkness of a tree line or something coming towards them.
Not really. That's why I took the time to say the word gait. A bear can walk on 2 legs, but has a very distinct sort of stiff shuffle sort of walk. It doesn't walk fluidly like a human, and he originally mistook it as just a person walking out there.
Yeah, bears also don't have scaly lizard scales too, so.
Yeah, he was pretty insistent that it had those scales. He personally even described it as being a red-eyed devil.
If this could be anything that's not necessarily a lizard man, then it could be a bear that's just trying to get into people's cars, food or something, and that's why they're scratching at the cars.
Actually, I have an alternate theory. In most of the cases, it did not have an extremely reptilian head, nor did it have a tail. Most of that came from sensational pictures put in the news reports. There were a few accounts of it having a tail, but in most of them it's not mentioned. And even in a few accounts, it had fur. It makes me almost wonder if this could be maybe a Bigfoot, Sasquatch sort of encounter, possibly even misidentified, or maybe it had some sort of thing like plaque psoriasis, where it appeared to have scales for some reason.
I don't really like using it's being misidentified. This kid was pretty insistent on this is what he saw that day.
Yeah, and a lot of times Bigfoot researchers want to categorize all these things as being Bigfoot, just being misidentified. You get the same thing going on with the Dogman, and I had to bring it up, but I don't really like the argument myself. But the folklore has an interesting thing to add on to this. There's some old Indian legends from that area about people coming from the direction of the ocean, and they were humans with tails. And they apparently came in and kind of took over the area for a little bit and ate all the fish. And once the fish were depleted, they just simply moved on and weren't ever seen again.
They just moved into the swamp, maybe?
Yeah, it sounds like they may have come from closer to the shore and just came in and hunted and fished that area. And then just kept moving, kind of like maybe a nomadic tribe or something. I know there's no direct correlation here, but it seemed like something that could be connected in some way.
So Vic, I got a question for you. So we recently kicked off this year's call to action video about skinwalkers. Could this be a skinwalker?
That's a really neat question because I've never heard anyone relate this to being a skinwalker case, but it kind of fits that someone might be out there utilizing the skin of a reptilian creature to take on some of its traits. I don't have anything to specifically relate it to that, but part of the skinwalker lore is it takes on some of those traits, but there's always definable tells.
One of the things that we've seen since we've been doing this channel is there seems to be this regional animal-human-esque hybrid that we've seen. We've seen like amphibians, creatures here on the Ohio River. We've seen Bigfoots up in the Northwest. Dogman here in the Midwest. Could the lizard man escape or swamp possibly be some sort of a reptilian skinwalker?
I mean, perhaps. I've not really looked much into that idea, but it's a really neat thought.
Just food for thought for the people out there. If you guys ever want any more information on what skinwalkers are, you should check out our call to action video here on the channel.
Well, there's one other thing that gets talked about a lot that could relate here. What do you think?
Oh, it's a coming. Oh, it's a coming. We finally get to talk about it. Could it be a reptilian? And initially, when me and Vic were talking about this idea, the only thing that kind of made me latch onto the idea at all is this constant thing where they seem to be going after cars. So if we're going to go with the idea that these things could be reptilians, maybe there's reptilians that gotten stuck in the swamp and they're trying to get out. I don't know.
Maybe it's even just an isolated case. If we're just looking at that first encounter with Chris, maybe it was out there doing some sort of nefarious business, got stranded. It needed a car. That's why it was going after it. Yeah.
Maybe all of the accounts that kind of came after it were people that were just trying to fluff up the legends. I don't know.
But interesting thought.
Just food for thought. So Vic, what are your thoughts?
My primary thought on this, it relates back to the car thing. It's such a major theme in the course of this. Sometimes when an animal is injured by an object, it won't respond with that sort of shrinking away, hiding hesitation. Sometimes it'll start to respond with extreme aggression at the sight of this. This could be some sort of unidentified cryptid out there that got winged by a car when trying to pass between two murky areas in the swamp. And then every time it saw a car, it would just go into a rage. It would go into straight attack mode. And I'm wondering if that might be what's going on here.
For me, guys, I don't think that it's actually a reptilian. If reptilians are real, they're very trying to take over the world, already running the world, very sort of, they've got more bigger things on their plate than dealing with this probably small part of the world. What sticks out at me, guys, is I think that these things are acting very territorial. They don't seem to be trying to actually harm the people in all of the stores where people are encountering them. They just seem to be like going after the cars. They seem to be making a really big show. So I think what these things are, if it's something that's living in the swamp. If it's a person becoming these things, I don't know. Is it just a creature that lives there? I don't know. Is it an alien that's there? I don't know. But it's something that lives specifically in the swamp, that it has staked out as its own territory, and it wants people to know it.
Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning into our most recent One Candle Paranormal case file.
We had a great time doing this video, guys. This was a fan request. This was requested by Lord Ultron.
Apparently he's a fan of the channel.
That is awesome. Hopefully we can get Thanos on as a fan of the channel. That'd be awesome.
So if you guys have something that you want us to talk about, post it below.
Yeah, guys, we got another video that's going to be coming up later that's also fan requested. So put it below, guys. We want to do the videos that you guys want us to do. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit those like, share, and subscribe buttons.
Also, the notification button so you get informed when we post a new video.
That's right. But most importantly, keep believing.
Because we'll keep listening.